I hope my screen is visible to all of you. So welcome to lecture number 13, the online mode. So we are starting up with a new style of modeling, Verilog modeling, that is gate level modeling. So in previous sessions, we understood about data flow modeling, and there are three styles of modeling. The second type is a gate level modeling. We also call it as structural style of modeling. And the other one is behavioral style of modeling, which we'll be studying in the unit 3 next unit. The structural style of modeling or gate level modeling, how the term is coined to it. That is what we need to understand first. Gate level modeling, because given any circuit, if you want to write a HDL code in gate level or structural style of modeling, the lowest subblock that you can arrive at is a gate level. AND gate, NAND gate, OR, XOR, XNOR, NOR, or NOT gate. This is the lowest level of abstraction that is possible for us to get down. And we have to use a Verilog primitives by the name of the gates itself. AND gate primitive is there, NAND primitive is there, OR Verilog constructor is there, NOR primitive is there. So using this, we construct a higher subblock, top subblock, and upon that, a top level module. So this is how we construct here using gate level modeling. That's why we have the term called gate level here. Now the question comes, why it is also called as structural style? The other name is structural. Why it is also called as structural modeling? Why? Because just assume an example of designing a full adder, 1-bit full adder, using two half adders. So for writing a structural style of code or Verilog code in gate level modeling, if at all I took this particular task of writing a full adder code using two half adders, we should have that structure in our mind before we start writing code. Without that structure on the paper or on in our mind, it's impossible to write a code. You know that, everyone know, because we have been studying it from the first semester of your engineering, that two half adders kept one aside the other in a cascading form. A and B acts as the two inputs of half adder, and the output of it is an intermediate which is connected as an first input of the second half adder, and the output of the second half adder is itself is a sum output of the full adder. So this fundamental we already are aware. That structure, that picture will come to our mind. So that picture if I am having, that structure if I am having in our mind, then only we are able to write a Verilog code in this particular modeling style. Hence it is also named as structural style of modeling. I hope it is clear. Now we shall begin with the very first terminology or a concept of the gate level style of modeling. Gate types. We are very well aware of all the basic gates. The same basic gate types are available in the Verilog constructs of the gate level modeling. To brief you about it, a logic circuit can be designed by use of logic gates. Verilog supports basic logic gates as predefined primitives. Let me just throw more light on it. Verilog supports basic logic gates. This basic logic gates itself have been made use to define a predefined primitives. This predefined is already it has been inbuilt. You use Xilinx or Mentor Graphics, Synapse, or whatever tool you have with you for writing Verilog code. These basic gates come as a predefined primitives. Okay, so these primitives are instantiated. Instantiation meaning we already understood during the unit 1. It's like connecting a smaller module to the larger module. That's called as instantiation. So these primitives are instantiated like modules, except that they are predefined in Verilog. So same thing like instantiation, how we were doing half adder to full adder, it's same, but you were writing half adder code there because half adder is an undefined one. But here in this case, You no need to write a code for AND gate, OR gate, all those things, because these are predefined in the Verilog. Do not need any module definition. Okay. So there are two classes of basic gates, AND OR gates and buff NOT gates. This AND OR gates will, the extension of AND gate is a NAND gate. The extension of OR gate is NOR gate. Using and OR gate, we can build XOR as XNOR gate. So hence we term all these as in the and OR gates types of Verilog constructs. We normally call it as basic gates. No need to elaborate much on it because you are very well aware of all these things. So here the gate instantiation with these and OR gates or basic gates looks like this. I have a net type declaration here. Wire out in1 in2. So here what I'm doing is I'm using a Verilog construct and A1 is a label, optional label. You can have it, you may leave it. Out is a output of this particular AND gate, followed by any number of inputs. It is a two input AND gate, hence two inputs. Similarly, NAND, optional label, output followed by inputs. Or R1 is a label, optional label, out is the output, followed by any number of inputs. It's a two input OR gate. Similarly, NOR1 is the optional label, out followed by any number of inputs. XOR also, X1 is label, your N X1 is label, out is output, IN1 and IN2 are your inputs. So this is how the simple gate instantiations of a basic gates is done. This AND, NAND, OR, NOR, XOR, XNOR, all these are predefined words. Hence we also call it as keywords. Remember that. Okay. Next, NAND, I have a more than two inputs, three input AND gate I want to design. It's quite simple. NAND, this is optional label. You may have it, you may ignore it, or you can write any label of your wish. Output is output. Any number of inputs, I said there are three number of inputs, hence it is called three input and NAND gate. You can have any number of inputs here. Okay, and one more thing. Gate instantiation without instance name. That is what the label what I was speaking. Here there is no label. As I said, it's a legal way also because this is optional. I've been telling it. This is optional one. Hence, you may have it or you may ignore it from your code. So this is the fundamental of the gate instantiation of AND OR gates. Next, how the AND gate, NAND gate truth tables are realized. That is what we need to understand now. So this similar kind of looking truth table I had taken during data flow style of modeling also. Quickly, I recapitulate it. So this is also input, this is also input. 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. So this is a simple basic AND gate that you have been learning up till now. Now this extension with XZ has been given because even while to be a good digital design engineer, you need to address all the worst case scenarios. Somewhere in a big circuit that you have designed, somewhere in between, at any one of the AND gate, basic gates, let me consider AND gate itself. Because of some error, there is something like Z as one of the inputs. Then what happens to the output there? So all such analysis you should make before you go for the bigger design. That's why this has been considered. Once again, I'll tell you, 0 ANDed with unknown. You should analyze it in this manner. 0 ampersand unknown. Unknown means you consider 0 one time, 1 one time. So in this case, when 0 ANDed with 0 will give you 0. When 0 ANDed with 1 will give you 1. It is same as unknown. So hence I call it as unknown. So you get 0 ANDed with unknown. Sorry, this is also 0. 0 ended with 1 is 0 itself. So irrespective of whatever unknown I'm having, if it is 0 ended with anything, is 0 itself. Hence you get 0 here. Same analogy can be applied for Z. Okay, so here 0 is dominating in AND gate. If any one input is there off, it's like there is a tap here or switch here. Think that it is a water pipe. I am forcing water here, and this is a water output. This is like AND gate inputs A and B. If any one input is off means this is off. Irrespective of it, you don't have any water output there. So in that case, when 0 ampersand Z, it will again be a 0. Okay, same thing here. 1 ampersand with unknown. So if it is 1 ampersand with unknown, 1 ampersand 0 is 0, 1 ampersand 1 is 1, 0, 1. It is matching unknown. So hence I write it as unknown. Similarly, Z, high impedance. 1 ampersand Z is like one tap is on, but other tap is high impedance state. It's like a leakage, I can see. So in that case, how much leakage it is, that is unknown. So hence the output is undeterministic here, indeterministic here. Hence we call it as unknown. Okay. So unknown, unknown. So it will be unknown. So if both inputs are unknown, either unknown or what I can say, high impedance state, your output is always unknown, irrespective of any gates you take. Irrespective of any gates, you can see here. This one, this one, this one, here. These are the outputs when your inputs are either X or Z. Okay, fine. So similarly, same analogy can be applied for OR gate, for NOR gate, for NAND, as well as XOR and XNOR. So you can just analyze these truth tables properly whenever you encounter the inputs unknown as well as high impedance state. I repeat once again, unknown means it may be 0 or 1. High impedance state means it is not, it is neither 0 nor 1. Okay, remember that. Okay, fine. So next is buff if and not if statements. A new concept for you. Buffer, we are very well aware of buffer. This is a buffer. Whatever input I am having, same output I get. This is buffer. What about NOT gate? NOT gate is whatever input I am having, your output will be inverse of input. So this is NOT gate. So the buff if, so this is just buff. This is just NOT. Now if means it's like a control signal. When you call buff if or not if, there is additional input which controls the flow of the logic. For example, here I'll give the additional logic. That's it here. We call it as control. Buff if 1 means if control is 1, then only output will get this input logic. If it is 0, then output will not receive anything from the input. It's like blocking it. You get the output as high impedance state. Remember, in buff if 1, if control signal is 1, then only output will be equal to input. Or else, if control is 0, then output will be high impedance state. I'll write the truth table here. This is control. This is output. If control is 0, if it is buff if 1, output is high impedance state. If control is 1, in 1, your input will come at the output. Similarly, not if 1 means I can design a truth table in the same fashion. Control out. If it is 0, what happens if it is 1? If it is 0, control is 0 means it is not if 1. When it is 1, it will work fine. If it is 0, output will receive high impedance state. If control is 1, output will receive inversion of input. This is how it goes. And similarly for this as well as this, we will have the truth table, control and output. So 0, 1. So buff if 0 means when 0 it is, it will work fine. When it is 1, your output will be high impedance state. Similarly here, control, out, 0, 1. So when it is 0, this will work fine. Inverse of I in 1. Or else it is high impedance state. This is how it works. Okay. I hope the things are clear. So remember this, buff if 1, not if 1, buff if 0, not if 0. All these are Verilog primitives, predefined words. And the same thing has been explained here. You can see 0 control is 0 means buff if 1 it is. Control is 0 means your output is Z. Buff if 1, not if 1 is also same thing. If control is 0, your output goes to Z. Similarly, buff if 0 means when it is 1, control is 1, your output goes to 0. Not if 0 means when control is 1, your output goes to Z. Okay. Now, other than that, if control is 1, buffer, it behaves as buffer 0 to 0, 1 to 1, unknown to unknown, Z to unknown. So I already said, so whenever your inputs are high impedance states are unknown, directly come to the conclusion that your outputs are unknown. The outputs cannot be predicted in that case. Okay, only the unmarked things we will analyze. So when control is 1, not if is 0 to 1, 1 to 0, and here again inputs are X and Z, so it'll be unknown itself. Okay, so buff if 0, same thing for when control is 0, 0 to 0, 1 to 1, not if 0, 0 to 1, 1 to 0. That's it. One important thing is if control is itself is unknown, I don't know what is the control is, whether it is 0 or 1, I don't know. In that case, buff if 1 means what it will pass as it is if it is 1. If it is 0, it is high impedance. Hence, we call this as 0 should have been passed if it has 1, but I don't know whether it is 1 or anything. So it will pass a weak logic 0. This is weak logic 0 symbol. It is weak high. It is strong high, weak high, weak logic low, weak low. So this is what happens. Let us not worry about this case. Okay, that's a special case. Now, how to use this in the gate instantiation? So in the gate instantiation, buff if 1 is a Verilog primitive, B1 is an optional label, B0 is an optional label, N1, N0, all these are optional label. First place is reserved for output. Let me write it here. Buff if was looking like this. CTRL. This is buff if 1. Only one example, I am just writing it. So output is occupying the first place of the instantiation. Next place is occupied by input. Last place is occupied by control. This is what is a format you need to follow whenever you are using buff if or not if, whether it is 0 or 1. Similarly for buff if 0, out in control, not if 1, out in control, not if 0, out in control. Okay, so I think up till here there are no doubts for you. So let us take an example of gate level multiplexer. So gate level multiplexer is a simple multiplexer design using gate level modeling. So 2:1 mux would be very simple. So what we have done is I have taken 4:1 mux for the focus. So 4:1 mux has 4 inputs, 2 select lines and 1 output, and its truth table has been shown here. 0 0 output is I0, 0 1 output is I1, 1 0 output is I2, and 1 1 output is I3. So this we have to design using write a Verilog code using gate level modeling. So that is what we will focus now. The circuit diagram goes like this of 4:1 mux. Just carefully observe. We have 4 inputs and 2 select lines and 1 output. It's been dotted line encircled with a rectangular space. Okay. Um, we need 3 AND gates and 1 OR gate. These 3 AND gates are special AND gates because it is 3 input one. First input is I0. Second, the next two inputs are your select lines, S1 bar and S0 bar. Here it is I1, S1 bar and S0. This is I2, S1 and S0 bar. This is I3, S1 and S0. So receive all the outputs and feed it as an input to the 4 input OR gate, and that's will give you output. And at select line, you need to have one NOT gate to invert it and to produce S1N, that is S1 bar, S1 negation you can say. S0 will result in S0N after the output of the inverter. We also call it as S0 negation. Okay, so this thing we will implement. In all of this, I0, I1, I2, I2, I3, S0, S1, S0, all these are outputs. Outside the dotted rectangular box are your input ports, and output is your output. So I know 6 inputs, 1 output are your outputs, and intermediates. How many intermediates are there? You can see here. S1N is an intermediate. S0N is also intermediate. Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3 are also intermediates. So total 6 intermediates I'm having. Let me define those things using wire. So here's a declaration. Module mux 4 to 1. Output I0, I1, I2, I3, S1, S0. So 6 inputs, 1 output. Port declaration. Output is out. Input is I0, I1, I2, I3, S1, S0. Next comes your net declaration. Net declaration, we had 6 intermediates. First two are S1N and S0N. S1N stands for NOT gate. I mean inversion of S1. S0N is inversion of S0. So wire Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3. So this is intermediate output of NAND gate 1, NAND gate 2, NAND gate 3, NAND gate 4. So first thing, what is S1N? That we need to define. NOT gate, this is output of that NOT gate. This is input of that NOT gate. So S1 bar is nothing but S1N. S0 bar is nothing but S0N. This is how we are using a Verilog primitives, a predefined word called NOT. Similarly, AND gates that we have used are 3 input NAND gates, and its outputs have been declared as a net intermediates Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3. So first AND gate output is Y0. Its inputs are I0, S1 bar and S0 bar. We call it as S1N and S0N. Similarly, next AND gate's output is Y1. Its input is I1 and S1 bar and S0. Third AND gate is Y2 output, I2 input, S1, S0 bar. And last one, Y3 is output, I3 is the input, S1, S0. And togetherly, all these 4 outputs from the intermediate AND gate output, Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3, acts as an input of the OR gate. These all acts as an input of the OR gates to produce the final output called out. So you can find here NOT and OR, all these things. We have not used that optional label. We have not used that label. It's optional. You may have it, you may skip it. Okay, so this is how the gate level multiplexer is designed. Very simple. In data flow style of modeling, we had used the same thing using operators. Okay, here we are using a gate level structure or gate level module. And for the same thing, we have written a stimulus module or stimulus block. So in stimulus block, module stimulus, we define all the inputs as registers. You can see here these are defined as the registers and outputs as wire. Okay, this is an instantiation and followed by the inputs, the case. So initially S1, S0 are 0. This IN or not, IN1 input, all 4 inputs have been given with some constants, and we are displaying that, and we are just changing the select line 0 0 first time, 0 1 1 0 1 1 1. and we shall check the outputs now. So to check the outputs, I'll take you to the Xilinx environment. So we'll just run this code and check. And meanwhile, if you have any doubts, please put your doubts in your chat box, Gmeet chat box. I'll verify it later. Yeah, here's the mux code, same code, no change at all. So you can see that this not and or gates, all these are highlighted with a blue color font. When these things are highlighted with a blue color font, the meaning is it is a keyword. So in the very beginning class, I had told you the meaning of in Xilinx environment. If it is pink color, then it is a compiler directive. And if you even if you use dollar symbol monitor or dollar symbol display, it will be in pink color. System task as well as compiler directives will be highlighted with a pink color font, and green color font is for comments, blue color font is for keywords, and black color for identifiers. So this I have been telling you. So in that fashion, you can understand that this is a Verilog primitive, which are keywords, predefined words. Okay, so same code. I'll set it to top level module, set as top level module. So now I'll synthesize it. So once synthesis is done, we shall write a stimulus block for it. Already I have written a stimulus block in order to save the time. We shall wait for the synthesis to carry out. Meanwhile, if you have any doubts, please put it in your Gmate chat box. I'll just tell it later. So synthesis is done. Now I'll go for the simulation. I have already written a stimulus block for Mux. Let me show that. I have been writing it just to save the time, or else it'll take a lot of time. Almost same codes that we have in the books, on the PPTs. Module stimulus mux. All the inputs are defined as reg. Outputs are defined as wire. Mux 4 underscore 2 underscore 1 is a name of the code that we have written. Mux code. Yeah, here it is. Mux code. Okay. And you see the order. First is output, next followed by inputs I0 to I3, then select lines. Same thing is followed here. First is output, followed by inputs, followed by select lines. So here output is nothing but here it has been defined output. This output will be matched with out of that one. Okay. So initial begin. So I set the inputs 1010. Same thing will be displayed after 1 second or 1 time units. And again, I'm changing the select lines. Initially I set it to 0. I'll display the same thing as well as the output. Next I'll set the our select lines as 0 1. Same thing I'll display with output. 1 0 display with output. 1 1 display with output. End it. Okay. So I can write one more command, hash phi dollar symbol finish, to finish the, what I can say, finish the simulation. And meanwhile I just said that the time unit, this compiler directive is pink color, whereas this system task is orange color. Okay, just correct it. So save it, keep it in the simulator, highlight the stimulus underscore mux, double click on simulate behavioral model, so you will have the output. iSIM simulator gets opened. There you can see the console as well as the output waveforms. So it's been successful. We shall wait. You can see this console. Inputs are already set and it has been displayed 1010. And select lines when 00, what is the output, 01, what is the output, 10, what is the output, 11, what is the output. All things are displayed. Zoom to fit. So here, when your when your input is uh, irrespective of your input, your select line is unknown, hence your output is unknown. I mean, now select line is 0 0, it will select I not 1, so I in not, that is 1, so you get 1. 0 1, I in 1 will be selected, so 0. 1 0, I in 2 is selected, that's why 1. And 1 1, last input, that is 0 will be selected, so 0. So this is a gate level mux, a gate level style of writing mux. Okay. Now we shall have one more example. I hope there are no doubts. Let me just check if you have any doubts. Yeah, no doubts. We shall proceed. So this is a console output that we have got. Next example for consideration is full adder, 4-bit full adder. Here 4-bit full adder, we have been doing it since previous chapter, but here I have taken the other thing. We are considering ripple carry adder, 4-bit ripple carry adder. Okay, so for 4-bit ripple carry adder design, we need a 1-bit full adder first, and that 1-bit full adder also I want to do it using a gate level style of modeling. So here you can see that some expression is A XOR B XOR Cn. C out expression is AB plus C in A XOR B. So this is again a design of a half adder. You can see here. This is half adder 1. Okay. This is again a half adder. One XOR gate, one AND gate. That's a half adder. Either you can write a full adder code using two half adders, or else directly write a gate level. Like for this XOR gate, S1 is output, A and B are your input. For this AND gate, C1 is output, A and B are your inputs. And for this XOR gate, sum is output, S1 and C in are your inputs. For this AND gate, S2 is the output, and S1 intermediate is the first input, C in is the second input. And for this XOR gate, whatever have actually it should be a OR gate actually. Okay, it's OR gate plus here. Okay, it's a OR gate. OR gate. It will take both the carries C1 as well as C2, C1 as well as C2 or S2 here, and it will give out the carry out. Same thing, we'll check it here. Module full adder, sum C out A, B, C in. Outputs are sum and C out, inputs are A, B, C in. Wire, intermediate S1, C1, C2. So here it has been written as S2. Let me change it to C2. This is C2. This is C1. Okay. So after that, we shall start writing code. XOR S1 input is AB. First half adder it is. You can directly write a half adder code, or else you can write in this fashion also, not a problem. This is second half adder. In order to make it simple, I'm just writing it. S1 is the output of the first half adder, AB are the inputs, C1 is the carry output of the first half adder, AB are the inputs. Second half adder's output is sum, your input is S1 and output of the first XOR and C in input. And similarly and C2, same inputs. I'll take the C2 and C1, use the OR gate, I'll get the C out. So this is a simple 1-bit full adder. Okay, we have been doing it. Next is very important. This is actually the ripple carry adder. In your lab termwork also it has been put, RCA, ripple carry adder. So here you have 4-bit inputs. A is of 4-bit, B is of 4-bit. I write it in the splitted manner. A0, B0 is added. A1, B1, A2, B2 and A3, B3. A0, B0 is the least significant bit. So for that I'll be forcing in the carry input. And whatever output I get as a sum expression is called sum of 0. From the second full adder it is sum of 1. Third full adder sum of 2. Fourth full adder sum of 3. And the output that is coming out of the full adder of the least significant bit, we call carry output as C1, carry output of the second full adder as C2, and carry out of the output of third full adder as C3. This C1, C2, C3 are the intermediates. These are the only intermediates in this. You can see A naught, B naught, A1, B1, A2, B2, A3, B3, C in, some 0, 1, 2, 3, C out. All these are outputs. Intermediates are only C1, C2, C3. So with this, we shall start writing a code. So here is a code in front of you. Full add 4, sum C out A, B, C in. Sum is of 4 bits, 3 down to 0. C out is a single bit. AB is of 4 bits, input 3 down to 0 AB. C in is of single bit. You have only three intermediates, C1, C2, and C3. The first full adder, FA0, FA1, FA2, FA3, all these are optional. But I recommend it to have it because if something goes wrong here, it will in the error it will mention the instance name. FA1 there is something error and that's why it is better if you keep it. So first full adder is here. What is the input? A is connected to A naught, B places B naught, and C in places C in. Sum output is a sum 0, carry output is C1. Sum 0, C1, this is outputs A1, A naught, B naught, C in. So this order should be matched because in this full adder, 1 bit full adder, sum C out, A, B, C in. That order I'm matching here. Sum C out, A, B, C in. That's why. Similarly, second full adder, sum 1, C2 is the output, carry output, A1, B1, C1 is a carry input. And for the third full adder, A2, B2, C2 is the input. A2, B2, C2 is the input. Outputs are sum 2 and C3. Sum 2 and C3. Similarly, last full adder output is sum 3 and C out. Sum 3 and C out. A3, B3 and C3 are your inputs. So that is your 4-bit full adder. And same thing, we'll write a stimulus block. We'll give some input cases and we'll check whether output will get in this manner or not. Okay. So let me go to the Xilinx implementation. I'll set 4 full adder 4-bit as a top level module. Yeah, this is a full adder 4. So full add 4, sum C out ABC in, outputs, inputs, wire C1, C2, full add FA0, FA1, FA2, FA3. All these are labels. You know, full add, full add, full add, full add. All these are uh, uh, a module name of the single bit full adder. These are the outputs and inputs, maintaining the order. So just maximize it. Here you will have the details of this full add, or everywhere it is full add, just double click on any one of it, it will show its output. That also is written in structural style of modeling. Full add sum C out ABC in, output and input, wire S1, C1, C2, same thing. XOR gate, this is first half adder, this is the second half adder. OR gate, output of the carry output of the both half adders combinedly acts as the input of the OR gate, and output is C out. So this is your full adder. So for this, we'll synthesize it. So after synthesizing, we shall write a stimulus block, same stimulus block that is been shown on the slide, and we'll check whether it behaves in the same manner as the adder or not. This is a ripple carry adder. In the last session, we had taken carry look ahead adder. So we just came across two different kinds of adders: ripple carry adder, carry look ahead adder. It is having respective advantages. Okay. So we shall write the stimulus block. Stimulus block is already written. Stimulus FA. So I'll double click on it, zoom it just for your explanation. Stimulus underscore FA. Inputs A, B, C in are declared as registers. Port connection rules. Some output as wire. Full add, ordered instantiation. The order, check the order. Sum C out A, B, C in. Sum C out A, B, C in. Okay. Initially what I do is let me after every time units, certain time units, A, B, C in, C out, sum should be displayed. So that is why this command is used. Here onwards, your inputs are defined. Initially, A, B, C in are set to 0. After 50 time minutes, A is changed to 3, B is changed to 4. After next 50 time minutes, 2, A is equal to 2, B is equal to 5. Next 9, 9, 10, 15, 10, 5, and C in is also forced. And we shall end it with finish. After 50, let me write. Save it. Double click on simulate behavioral model, wait for the iSIM simulator to get open, and we shall check whether it is behaving as a 4-bit adder or not. So it's successful. We have things on the console. You can see here at 0, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250 respective inputs, and its output has been displayed. Let me check the waveform, zoom to full view, and you can see here. I can keep the sum A and B in the radix unsigned decimal so that it is easily understandable. 0, 0, 0. 3 plus 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. 2 plus 5 is 7. 9 plus 9 is 18. 18. 16 can be represented. Maximum is 0 to 15. So access to 16 is 2. So that 2 is displayed. Carry output. 15 plus 10 is 25. Access to 16 is 9. So that is displayed with carry high. And 10 plus 5 is 15. So that 15 is exactly that is a limit of thing, but there is a carry input 1. So 10 plus 5 plus 1 is 16. So 16 is represented as 0 with carry 1. Okay, so this is the full adder output. It is behaving according to the required functionality. So now it's fine for me. So this is all about the full adders and the mux. So before we proceed with the next concept, the next concept is delays. So delays need a bit of time, so I cannot just take it now. So before we conclude the class, let me just give you some task. You can try it at your place. So uh, okay, let me write it here. So I want you people to try it. Okay, the first one. For all these things, you need to write a Verilog code. Full adder, 1 bit. Okay, 1 bit full adder using 4 is to 1, 4 to 1 mux. Second. Okay, next is uh, AND gate using 2 is to 1 mux. XOR gate using 2 is to 1 mux. Fine. So these all things I'm expecting you people to do it. One more last one. 4 is to 1 mux using 2 is to 1 mux. All these in terms of gate level style of modeling. Okay, so you try it out from your end. If at all you have any doubts, we shall discuss in the next class. And for now, we will discuss the doubts that you carry, that you have for today's session. So that's it for today.